It's a gorgeous afternoon in Chicago, Illinois, where we come to you from U.S. Cellular Field to watch one of the best young left-handers in the game, Chris Sale, take on a young and improving Kansas City Royals team that hopes to raise a little Cain in the Windy City. It's game 2 of this series between the Royals and the Chicago White Sox. Chicago still leads the American League Central, but only by 1 game over Detroit. The Tigers play the Angels tonight in Southern California. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Physiak. The White Sox are sick and tired of being kicked around by the Kansas City Royals. The Royals have won 6 straight games against the leaders in the American League Central, and that has not happened since 1982, 30 years ago. Joining me today, the Wild Thing, Mitch Williams. To a man, Chicago is saying we are addressing only Kansas City. They're not looking ahead to Detroit on Monday.
Well, that may be the case, Steve, but the bottom line is when you've lost 6 straight games to a team like Kansas City, it's in your head. It becomes mental. It's not a physical thing. And this Kansas City Royals team is youthful. They have speed. They have talent. They're a team to be reckoned with.
The intensity is ratcheted up here in Chicago, Illinois, on the south side. Only 25 games to go as Chicago clings to a 1-game lead in the AL Central. First pitch of the Royals and White Sox is coming up next. Lorenzo Cain was the star of last night's Kansas City victory. He hit 2 home runs, including 1 in the 9th. Escobar, Gordon, Butler, Perez, Francoeur, Moustakas, Pena, and Giavatello round out that Kansas City 9. On the hill will be the left-hander Chris Sale, and he has had one heck of a season, going 15-6 with a sparkling 2.93 earned run average, and that is 5th best in the American League.
This kid can really throw the ball, Steve. And the scouting report on him, above average fastball and slider. His changeup is coming along. He is very deceptive, and he must get ahead in the count to be successful, because when he's ahead in the count, he can expand the zone on these hitters, and being as deceptive as he is, get hitters to chase really bad pitches.
The opening pitch is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. Spectacular day in Chicago, and last night here is Lorenzo Cain blasting this one out down the left field line. That tied the game. Then in the ninth, in a 5-5 ball game, he hammers out a hanging slider. KC goes up 7-5. They win by that score, and the bullpen did the rest with 7 more strikeouts in 3 2/3 innings.
Well, I can say this, Biz, they better not hang sliders to Lorenzo Cain. Both of those were sliders hung in the middle of the plate, and he didn't miss either one of them.
He was delighted, and he said it was the happiest he's been this year, because this is a young man who was injured the first week of the season, slamming into the wall in Oakland, California, making a marvelous catch, was gone for 78 games, and this was his opportunity with Kansas City. Sale, an outstanding pitcher. His first pitch is a fastball. 3rd in the American League in wins, 5th in ERA, 7th in strikeouts.
And the White Sox have decided to go completely against what the Nationals have gone with Strasburg, and they're not shutting their big guy down. It was announced today Strasburg shut down. The White Sox are going to ride this young kid. As long as he's healthy, he's throwing.
Swing and a miss by Cain, and Sale is a strikeout pitcher, 7th in the American League with 162. And I like what Chicago has done with Sale. There have been 3 separate occasions where they backed off a start and given him 8 to 9 days of rest.
And that's a smart thing to do. And what I like in his first at-bat, he's thrown 2 changeups already. He's trying to establish his fastball, but show these hitters his changeup is going to be a big part of this game.
He's just 23 years old, 6'6", 180 pounds.
And that might be stretching it, 180.
There was a time, Mitch, even you were 180 pounds.
I lied. When I was a rookie, I weighed 170 soaking wet, and lied and told him I weighed 200.
That's why it was on your ball cord that said 200. And there he is from Lakeland, California. A lot of teams passed on this young man because of the awkwardness in his delivery. It's a little unorthodox and violent.
Well, his delivery is awkward, as you can see. It froze Cain right there with that fastball down the middle. And when you throw across your body like Chris Sale does, you look at this, you look at the arm angle, and that ball is coming at an angle. It's not coming straight at the hitter. The hitter does not pick it up until late, and then it's by you.
So Cain will sit down, the star of last night's game, and here's Alcides Escobar. He had 2 hits last night. He had been in the throes of a major slump. 3 for his previous 34, then an infield hit, then a big base hit later.
And you see Sale coming out. He's not throwing 94, 95 in this first inning. His fastball's been 90, 91. He's getting himself established in this game. There's 91. The thing I love about his delivery, everyone thinks it looks real herky-jerky and that he throws from an odd angle. But if you look at him, the way he takes his head down to his arm, if you stood him straight up, his elbow is above his shoulder. And there's that filthy slider right there.
It has that late break. It's been a real problem for both left-handers and right-handers.
See him take his head down there to his arm. That allows him to get his fingers on top of that baseball and throw it downhill.
Mitch, he almost looks like a left-handed Jack McDowell.
Very similar. He throws across his body, and what I mean by that is his landing foot does not land straight at the hitter. If you're a left-hander, his front foot is actually pointed behind you.
Escobar fights it off. The count stays at 1 ball and 2 strikes. He's out of Lakeland, Florida. He was the White Sox first-round pick, 13th overall out of Florida Gulf Coast University.
And Sale has him in account now where the hitter's using his emergency hack. Fastball is the toughest pitch to emergency hack.
Why is that?
Because they have the least amount of time to react to it. When you're standing at the plate as a hitter and you're trying to protect, all you're trying to do is feel for the ball and put it in play. A fastball inside, you can't react to it and put it in play like that.
Escobar lines a base hit to left field. Solid at bat for the shortstop Escobar. And here is today's defensive alignment for the Chicago White Sox, brought to you by Chevrolet. Wise in center field. Viciedo will start in left. He was the DH last night. And Rios in right field. And around the diamond, Canerco, Beckham, Ramirez, Olmedo, and Tyler Flowers will catch Chris Sale as A.J. Pierzynski is the designated hitter this afternoon. It is a gorgeous afternoon in Chicago, Illinois. They expected rain last night. Never got it. Alex Gordon, the batter. He shows bunt, brings it back, and he had the third baseman, Olmedo, well back at third. Now he'll come in and play even with the bag.
Well, and that's exactly what Alex Gordon wants. He wants that third baseman to be creeping in so he can shoot a ball down that left field line. This guy is a doubles machine. 46 doubles this year.
Leads the major leagues by 3. And he has shot a lot of balls past third base for a double this year.
Well, and that's what's made him a better hitter. When he came up, he struggled. And when you get to the big league level, it's all about adjusting. And Alex Gordon has been one of the really young kids that has made the adjustments he's needed to make to become a 300 hitter.
Right now at 298, he checks his swing and pops it up into shallow center field. Wise is there to take care of it. Two outs. Our umpires today: Mark Carlson behind home plate, Angel Hernandez at first base, Ed Hickox is the second base umpire, and Chris Conroy is at third base. Now, Mark Carlson probably will be more important for Bruce Chen than Chris Sale.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about that when Bruce takes the mound, but he most definitely will be important to Chen and what happens and how Bruce Chen attacks this lineup of the White Sox.
Escobar always a threat to go. Sale, though, is pretty quick home.
And the thing that makes it hard to run on Chris Sale, the rule is your knee can cross your post leg, but your foot can't. And when that last view we saw showed you that his knee crossed his post leg and he went home. If your foot crosses your post leg, you have to go home.
Andy Pettit's probably the best I've ever seen at that.
Well, and for me, I've never understood a left-hander that throws out of a slide step. Number one, you're sacrificing stuff, and number two, you're giving away a weapon. Anytime you can get an out where there's a guy not holding the bat, I used to love that.
Kansas City is 6th in the American League in stolen bases with 109, and Butler hits it sharply, but right at the third baseman Olmedo. They get the fours at second base, and Kansas City is done in their half of the first. Rays, Ramirez, Viciedo, Canerco, Rios, Pierzynski, Flowers, Olmedo, and Beckham. They hit .258. They are 5th in the American League in runs scored, 4.7 per game, and they will face this soft tossing lefty from Panama, Bruce Chen.
You can see Bruce Chen's numbers. 3rd year in a row he's been in double-digit wins for the Royals. He's not an overpowering guy. If you look at his numbers, hit the scouting report on Bruce Chen: average fastball, good curveball, changeup, good changeup, but he has to work the edges, and that's where the umpire comes in. If the umpire's giving him the edges, Bruce Chen will have a good day. If he's not, and he forces him into the middle, it's going to be a long day for Bruce Chen.
And Bruce has had a lot of success against these Chicago White Sox. In his career, 5-4, but he's won 5 of his last 6 since July of last season.
And the old saying in baseball, Steve, you got to throw above hitting speed or below it. and Bruce can't throw above it anymore, so he throws below it and counts on location and changing speeds.
But he must establish the fastball to speed up their bats.
Absolutely. And I don't care how hard you throw. If you change a hitter's eyes and make him look up, down, you can throw 83 and throw it by guys head high.
Drops down to Dwayne Wise, who fouls it off.
The last 3 seasons, I mean, this is shocking. The only guy to win more games against the American League Central than Bruce Chen is Justin Verlander.
Wise pops it up left side. If Chen is on his game, we'll see a lot of this. Gordon calls off Escobar. 1 out.
And that's a product of getting the hitter out on his front foot. And that's what Bruce Chen has to do in order to be successful.
Here is today's defensive alignment for the Royals, brought to you by Chevrolet. Kane in the middle. Francoeur and Gordon have great arms. Butler is at first base, giving Hosmer the day off against the temp lefty. Giovatello, Escobar, and Moustakas with Brian Pena catching Chen. He has been his personal catcher this year with Salvador Perez, today's designated hitter.
And that's the pitch he's got to get. And that's a good sign. If I'm Chen, I'm thinking, great, I'm getting that corner. As long as he stays consistent with it, the umpire will give it to him all day.
Bruce came in with 10 wins. He will give up a lot of home runs, 28 this year. That's 5th most in the American League, and this is a power hitting lineup. They have the 2nd most home runs in the AL with 178, 65 more than Kansas City. And only Mariano Rivera has more wins than Bruce Chen, pitchers from Panama. And that's right, despite his Asian name, Chen is from Panama. Both grandparents are Chinese, and a lot of Chinese people went to Panama to build the canal in the early 20th century, but not his grandparents. They did not work on the canal. They were engineers, and that's what Bruce would have gone into had he not found baseball.
That's kind of what I was going to do, I think. I was going to be an engineer. The only thing holding me back was my IQ.
Well, this guy is flat brilliant. He had great grades at Georgia Tech, majoring in engineering, but all of a sudden his baseball career took off. He fell in love with the game, and he moved in that direction.
Well, I could be an engineer of a train, I think. That right there is catching a hitter looking for an off-speed pitch and throws him with an 87-mile-an-hour fastball on the inner third of the plate. That's why they call it pitching. It's not throwing, it's pitching. And you see that ball is absolutely a strike, but Ramirez is looking for something off speed.
That strikeout was number 1,000 in Bruce's career, so congratulations for 35-year-old veteran from Panama City. Now who will face Diane Viciedo. The reason they moved him up to the 3 spot is because of an injury to Dunn, and he hammers this one to right field, and also the fact that he hits left-handers well. And he certainly does that here, blasting his 20th home run of the season.
Well, In that situation, he's going up there and not letting Chen just get ahead. He went up there, got a fastball out over the plate, and Viciedo just drove that ball out of right field.
Well, they usually have Adam Dunn in that 3 spot, and he just hit like Dunn.
And the funny part about our game, that pitch was exactly where the catcher wanted it, and Viciedo stayed on it.
Diane becomes the 5th Chicago White Sox to reach 20 or more home runs this year. Dunn is at the very top of that list with his 38. But then you have Rios and A.J. Pierzynski and Paul Konerko have all gone past that 20 mark. Kansas City, more of a speed team, young team that likely will have that kind of power in the future, but not right now.
Well, they got to learn to hit with power at this level.
And that's what Kevin Seitzer is preaching his young Kansas City team. We want you to be good hitters before you're power hitters.
Well, and Seitzer was that kind of hitter. He came up and he was one of those guys that you had to mix everything up on, and I'm sure that's what he's passing on to the hitters he's coaching now. You couldn't go at Kevin Seitzer just one way, and I think that's probably what he's trying to teach his young hitters now. Don't let a pitcher get a book on you to get you out just one way.
Konerko walks. Bruce is a controlled pitcher, averages just 2.1 walks per 9 innings, and that's in the top 10 in the American League. Brian Pena has been his personal catcher this year, and now they'll discuss Alex Rios, who has been on fire. Rios in Wednesday's game, Mitch, you can't play much better. He drove in all 6 runs of his team victory over the Minnesota Twins. Well, 2-run home run and a grand slam.
They've got 2 guys in this lineup. Dunn not being in there today, but Rios and Dunn are both candidates for comeback players of the year. They both had great bounce back years. And without their offensive production, the White Sox ain't sitting in first place.
Rios very close to career highs in home runs and RBIs. Waves at the first offering and is down in the count 0-2. We talked about Dunn not playing. He still has an oblique injury. Adam likely will not play in this series. And then Kevin Youkilis may be back tomorrow. He's on paternity leave. His wife delivering the couple's first child back in Massachusetts.
And as we watch here in this 1-2 count, I'll be surprised if Chen goes back in the strike zone. This is where, as a pitcher, you want to make that hitter chase. A little too good a pitch, in my opinion. A little too much of the plate. You don't want to think like a pitcher right here. You want to think like a hitter. And you see this pitch, that ball's right down the middle. And if I'm Bruce Chen, I'm thinking, wow, I'm glad he fouled that off.
So do you think he'll get a changeup here?
I'd go a high fastball.
He went with the breaking ball at 69 miles an hour, and it's fouled straight back as Rios a little late on the pitch.
And you see that, and you see he's late on a 69 mile an hour breaking ball. As a pitcher, that's got to tell you have to have the recognition he's sitting on something off speed. If he elevates his fastball mask high on that catcher in the middle, that's outside. Had that ball been in the middle, Rios would have gone after it.
Wise popped up. Ramirez struck out looking. Viciedo homered. Konerko walked. Now 2-2 to Rios. He had him down 0-2. Ed Yost and Robin Ventura, 2 managers competing today. Struck him out.
Really good breaking ball.
But Diane Viciedo hits his 20th home run of the year. Powers one out to right center field. Chicago takes the early 1-0 lead. Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. And by Lexus, introducing a stunning world of technology, the entirely new Lexus ES. Steve Physiak, Mitch Williams with you in Chicago, Illinois, where the White Sox have taken the 1-0 lead over Kansas City. Chris Sale back on the hill to face Salvador Perez, one of the best young catchers in all of baseball.
Well, I got to see this kid in the dugout this morning, and this is a large human.
He is really good, too. Base hit. He now has a 13-game hit streak, batting over .360 in that time. But you were talking earlier about your IQ. There is a academic IQ and there's a baseball IQ. I think this young man, Salvador Perez, has both.
Well, I think in order to be successful at this level, you better have a baseball IQ. And I've played with guys that are some of the dumbest humans I've ever met. But baseball-wise, their baseball knowledge was off the charts.
Only you can say that, Mitch.
Well, I'm not going to name any names, but
please don't.
It's the truth, and I might be one of them. No one's going to be asking me to do their taxes anytime soon, I can tell you that.
We'll help Salvador do them. And here's Jeff Francoeur. Takes inside a high, tight fastball from Chris.
When I look at Chris Sale, it's hard to argue with the success that he's had. But most left-handed, with the deception he has, his foot is on the third base side of the rubber. If he moved to the first base side of the rubber, it would add even more deception to the right-handers and be a whole lot more scary for left-handers because he'd actually be throwing from behind them. But he chooses to throw from the third base side. As you look there, I would be all the way over. I threw from the first base side of the rubber.
All I can tell you is he's had a lot of success doing what he's doing.
Exactly.
Francoeur skies it in the air left side. Viciedo is trying to call up a shortstop. Now he does and makes the catch for the first out of the second inning.
That fly ball right there had all the makings of a collision. And if you don't communicate out there, that's when players get hurt. You run into each other. Viciedo did a good job of calling all those guys off right there. You always want the guy coming in on the ball to be the guy catching it, not the guy going back on it.
Here is Mike Moustakas. He's one of the few left-handers that the Royals have placed in the lineup today. And that's because Sale has allowed 17 home runs this year. Only 2 have been struck by left-handed batters.
Well, when you look at his delivery, as I said, he throws across his body, and a left-hander, their heart might be in it, but a lot of times their butt ain't in it. And if you can get a left-hander to leak, it opens up the outside part of the plate, and you get a lot of rollover ground balls to the second baseman, or you get punch-outs.
And that's why his slider has been a real problem for left-handers. Although Moustakas drops it in the alley, right center field. Perez will make it. Moustakas holds at first.
And both these hits Sale's given up in this inning have been in triple counts, 2-0 counts, where a hitter can sit on a fastball, and if you're sitting on fastball and you get it, you can't miss it. Both times they did not miss it. Perez and now Moustakas.
If you're Sale, how do you want to pitch Brian Payne? You either get him to pop up or ground out.
Well, Pena obviously isn't going to run well, so I'm going to try and keep the ball down unless I get him in a pitcher's count, and then I'm going to try and punch him out.
He stayed too far down, and Pena takes it. 1 ball, no strikes. Brian hitting .247 with a couple of home runs this year. taken care of by Konerko. They've got the man in the rundown, and they will tag out Mike Moustakas. Wait a second. The umpire. He's ruling it a foul ball. It was right down the line.
Well, it would have been a run scored.
Yes.
As we look here, that's tough for us to even tell because of the shadows.
But Mark Carlson called it right away foul.
If I'm Chris Sale, I'm happy as heck right there because I don't want that runner scoring.
Unless Pena does something better.
Yeah.
Let's listen to Mark Carlson.
Foul! 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 Foul!
I heard him. Did you, Mitch?
Yep, absolutely. He was all over that call. I'm guessing he called it foul.
Here's the 2-1 to Pena. Now Sale back even at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And now if I'm Sale, this is where I'm looking to elevate. I want the punch out now. I've got him in a position to strike him out. I'm going to elevate my fastball. My target is going to be the top of the catcher's helmet. I'd set my catcher up in the middle and have him throw the fastball right at the top of the catcher's helmet.
Stays 2-2. His fastball at 93 miles an hour.
But down there, he's able to fight that pitch off and get a piece of it. If he elevates it, he's not going to be able to get the barrel of the bat to it.
Good battle by Pena. Chicago took the early lead on the Viciedo home run, and usually that does not bode well for Kansas City. The Royals are just 15 and 57 when the opponent scores first this year, although Ned Yost's club trailed 1-0 last night and had to rally. It was only their 23rd come from behind victory this year. Ground ball short. This should be 2, 1, and 2. Sale's happy.
And that's why I would be happy that that ball was called foul.
When we come back, we'll see A.J. Pierzynski, the man with 25 home runs this year for the White Sox. Here in Chicago, an absolutely beautiful afternoon. Game 2 of this 3-game series. White Sox lead it 1-0 on Viciato's 20th home run of the year. Came back in the first. Bottom number 2. A.J. Pierzynski steps to the plate. And Bruce Chen will have to deal with a guy who has shown plenty of power this year. Has a career high 25 home runs. And this is a guy who Mitch plays every single day.
Well, A.J. is an old-time player, old-school baseball player. He's hard-nosed. He plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. Never been known as a great defensive catcher, always been an offensive catcher.
But don't you think he calls a very good game?
Yes, he does.
And he is an offensive catcher who hits the ball on the screws here right at Lorenzo Cain. 1 out. Pierzynski, I mean, it is a grind to put on the tools of ignorance and go back there and get beat on every single year. Only Tony Pena and Brad Ausmus have had 100 starts as a catcher in 12 straight years. A.J. has done that from 2001 through this season.
Well, and that's the thing about it. Most catchers, if you're going to be an offensive catcher, when you get to 100 games, you've lost your legs. And your legs are a huge part of hitting. So they have to maintain such a weight program to make sure they keep their lower body under them. Squatting behind that plate 130 games a year takes its toll.
Popped up right side. Billy Butler chasing, but it's well out of his reach. The count is 0-2. Chen has on Tyler Flowers.
I've been one that has said that if Minnesota ever wants to get the offensive production they should get out of Joe Mauer, they have to move him from behind the plate.
Well, they have him playing first base a lot now.
Yeah.
And the designated hitter. Ryan Doumit was a quality addition for the Twins from the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he's been able to catch, allowing Joe to move over to DH and play first, and he is a good first baseman.
Well, the bottom line is if you're an athlete, you're an athlete. And Joe Mauer is an athlete.
We're seeing big catchers now. You talked about Salvador Perez. A.J. Pierzynski's a big catcher. Joe Mauer's like 6'5", 6'6".
And that's the problem. A.J.'s built. He's thick, but he's not a tall guy. He's built like a catcher. He's almost square. So it's easier on that kind of body than a guy that's 6'5" or 6'6" that's got to squat back there. That's a lot of leg that you're losing late in the season.
Matt Wieters of the Baltimore Orioles is 6'5" tall. Salvador Perez. Brian Pena is more about 6 feet tall, about 235 pounds.
When you look back on some of the great catchers, Thurman Munson, Tony Pena, these guys are around 6 feet tall, 200, and they're built to do that, built to play that position. 6'5", 6'6", you don't see very many catchers that stay around that long because they lose their legs in the second half of the year.
But there have been some quality big league big catchers. Carlton Fisk for the White Sox and Red Sox. Lance Parrish with the Detroit Tigers.
Well, Lance was just shy of a bodybuilder.
A swing and a miss by Ray Olmedo. Chen got Pierzynski on a line out. Flowers struck out swinging. Now Olmedo down in 2 balls and 2 strikes. Chen has it. Quick and easy second inning for Bruce. We head to the third. 1-0 Chicago. Presented by MasterCard. Steve Physiak, Mitch Williams with you in Chicago, Illinois. 1-0 White Sox. There's Johnny Giabatella to lead things off for KC, their number 9 hitter. Then back to the top of the order, Kane and Escobar.
And we see here, I'm going to guess over the next 2 or 3 innings, Chris Sale's strikeout count is going to go up.
Because of the shadows?
Because of the shadows. When the pitcher's standing in that sunlight and that hitter's standing in the shadows, the hitter loses sight of spin and sight of the baseball. It's very tough on hitters. And the shadows just keep getting worse and inching more and more onto the infield. And Chris Sale's going to be in the sunlight for a while before the hitter and him both are in the shade.
Giabatella lines one sharply to left field. Viciata will cut it off for out number 1. Let's go to Brian Kenny for a DirecTV game break.
Yeah, Steve, the Giants lead the Dodgers by 5.5 after beating them last night. Here, Buster Posey going to give them a 1-0 lead. Was knocked down by Luis Cruz, but the run scores. 3 shutout innings for Matt Cain. It's 1-0 right now. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Steve?
Thank you, Brian. And that was a magnificent ending last night. Boy, Marco Scutaro has been a big pickup for the Giants.
Well, when they lost Melky Cabrera and the Dodgers made that big trade, I honestly thought the Dodgers were going to win that division. Losing the bat of Cabrera, I thought was going to be too much for the Giants to overcome, but they've added on to their lead since.
Scutaro is just a good situational player. Had the game-winning hit last night. And I'm sure a lot of Giants fans were excited about the way Lincecum pitched.
Well, they have to be. I mean, Tim Lincecum's won the Cy Young twice. At some point, you're hoping he's going to revert back to that form. He has thrown the ball better of late, but they need him. If they hope to go deep into the playoffs, they're going to need Lincecum.
There's always a certain toughness on those Bruce Bochy teams. Sale's pitch, Kane swings, ground ball. That'll find left field.
And see, this is a part of the game. If I'm Chris Sale, I'm going to throw more changeups because of the shadows. He throws a fastball right there. The hitter's on it. The hardest pitch to pick up when a pitcher's, you see right here, fastball's in the middle. Now, if that had been a changeup, there's no way that hitter can stay back on that pitch if he's thinking fastball.
Would then this be a good situation to go hit and run? You have 2 action guys, one with speed at first base, a guy who can handle the bat, and a changeup. You can hit to right field if Beckham is covering on the steal.
Absolutely. I like that type of baseball. I don't like motionless baseball. I like pressuring the defense. There's no telling how many big innings have come from the result of a sacrifice bunt that a third baseman or a pitcher has thrown away.
Kane has not gotten a good read on Sale yet, and he was awfully quick home that time.
Well, and Kane's trying to go the other way here. He's fighting pitches off. Now he's in an 0-2 hole. This is where, if I'm Sale, he's not seeing another strike, and he isn't seeing anything hard.
Kane gets back easily. He has 9 stolen bases this year in 9 attempts.
And that's not Sale's good move.
It took all the way until this 3rd inning before Chris threw a first pitch strike.
Well, and it's tough to pitch that way, Steve. When you're behind in the count and hitters can put you in hitters' counts, it makes for a long day.
He's thrown 47 pitches. Kansas City is not known for being patient. And again, Escobar fighting off the Sale offerings.
And that's a good job of the hitter, as you said, just fighting it off, keeping the at-bat alive. This would be a good time to bounce a breaking ball.
And that one comes inside. Well, we understand Jake Peavy is with us now, one of the Chicago White Sox starting pitchers. Jake, because we're watching Chris Sale, how have you influenced this young man? Because he really looks like he is a competitive pitcher.
Chris is mature beyond his years. He understands what he's trying to do, understands the game plan, and obviously his stuff speaks for itself. He understands that he's in the bullpen a lot when you come up his first start. And when you start, you're going to throw 115, 20 pitches a night sometimes. Every pitch is not all out, and I think that's been the biggest key for him is understand when less is more. He's outstanding. It's fun to watch.
Wait a minute, Jake. This is Mitch, and you're saying every pitch is not all out?
Well, I can tell you what. When I was his age, I can promise you, I don't think I threw a pitch with under less than 175% effort. These days,
buddy, I ain't seen you throw one yet this year.
I don't throw many of them. I do take a little bit off my legs here and there. You want the upper body to look the same on every pitch, but Chris is I tell you, just watching him mature and what he's going to do here on the South Side for many years to come. Hopefully, health willing, will be special to watch.
We want to show you some numbers. Obviously, you can't see them, but Jake Peavy won 16 games. In 2009, you had 16 starts. 2010, 17. 2011, 18. This year, 27 already. Jake, what have you done to keep yourself healthy?
I had surgery in 2010, a surgery that nobody ever had before, and being able to come back from that was uncertain. But last year, trying to get back, I was far from who I wanted to be, far from being healthy. Didn't know if I would be able to pitch and recover every 5 days. But coming into spring, I felt as good as I felt in a long time, and fortunately, been able to feel good and been able to compete.
Jake, I got to ask you, because you are a max effort guy, and you throw into a stiff front leg, and the deceleration of your arm falls on the back of your shoulder and your lat. Have you ever been hesitant coming back because you haven't changed your mechanics? Did you ever think about maybe changing your mechanics after the injury?
No, I didn't. The bottom line is your mechanics are your mechanics, and certainly you can do certain stuff to do that. But lat injuries, it wasn't like I had the first lat injury. There's been plenty of lat injuries. We just didn't catch mine. We had some MRIs and just missed the boat with me when I was telling them where I was hurt and us where we were looking. We just missed the boat. We had 3 MRIs and never saw anything going on with the lat until it was too late. And so that's why I had the injury that I just didn't have. I wasn't, good with my communication skills, and we just missed it. We just missed the boat. Blame, but there's been other guys who heard it and just catch it and you didn't get in the shape I was in. But I never thought about changing my mechanics. I didn't. I knew what I'd done that made me successful for so long. I was hoping I would be able to come back and do that and stay healthy, and I have been so far.
This is quite a battle between Sale and Escobar, and finally he walks Escobar, who doesn't walk that much. Jake, earlier this afternoon, Mitch and I were in visiting with your skipper, Robin Ventura, and he could not say as many wonderful things about you. I mean, he talked about your leadership, your competitiveness, and I wanted to ask you, how can a starting pitcher lead?
Well, you know what? Obviously, you're going to lead on your 5th day, but just being a teammate, that's the ultimate goal, was to win, as a team. And I obviously have no hand in winning or losing on the field today. But to help Chris Sale game plan to go through some numbers and give him some swing counts, some things that these guys do, to sit down and take some of these guys under my wing, as a Greg Maddox did, as a Bobby Jones did when I was young, just to help me know how to prepare. And obviously these guys are gonna learn how to compete, and we challenge them to compete and give us everything they got. Just talking about taking care of yourself in between starts, getting what you need to feel as good as you can feel. But at the end of the day, it comes down to being in the dugout with your teammates, keeping things upbeat, positive, no matter what goes on. And when you have a manager like Robin, guys like me can just fall in behind him and just encourage guys and make sure guys are in good spirits and a good frame of mind and ready to go.
Sale, meantime, going up against Alex Gordon.
Jake, I got to ask you, because you do have that bulldog mentality, that if I'm a manager, I want 14 pitchers on my staff to have that same mentality and have to pry the ball out of your hand. And they say that Chris Sale is that same way. That Robin told us Sale never wants the ball to be taken from him.
Right now, that's how Chris Sale. I'm telling you, this kid is something special. He has all the attributes to make up of a great. Like you said, he's got great makeup. He's got great stuff. He's got a great work ethic. So, that combined with being left-handed and lanky and throwing across his body a little bit with deception is going to end up pretty good if things stay on the course they stay now. But you want to do that, but there's a fine line in being that competitor, and we've all, I think, at times. Been a little bit too competitive and not rational at times, and keep the ball a little bit longer than we should when we realize we're out of gas 120 or so pitches into our night. And that's the key. The key is to find that fine line where obviously you want to be the bulldog that everybody talks about, but at the same time you want to be rational, because at the end of the day it's about finding a way to win. And sometimes in the heat of the moment we're not the best at making that rational decision. The older we get, I think the better we get at that.
Well, Jake, you might want to take him out for a steak and baked potato.
I tell you what, I'm going to feed him good before we go to Bruce Springsteen concert after this win here.
Yeah, the count is 3-2, and Jake, he's had 2 tough battles, like a 10-11 pitch duel with Escobar, now a long battle with Alex Gordon. What does a veteran pitcher do in stressful situations like this when you've had a long inning?
Well, I tell you what, he needs to realize the importance of this pitch right here with 1 out. We got to get Gordon out here where he can have some room to work with the guy on deck that is the best hitter on their team, and a right-handed hitter at that. So big pitch here.
Foul.
And that's what it's all about, Jake, is in these counts, slowing the game down.
Of course.
And understanding that, number one, he is left-handed. He's got a left-handed hitter at the plate. He's throwing to a guy standing in a shadow and not try and overthink it.
Good slider strike here, I believe, will do it.
Yeah.
Fastball
on the black will do it, too.
To Alex Gordon. And Jake, he's a left-hander. You're a right-hander. We're taking a look at Gordon right now, but Billy Butler, you just admitted he's their best hitter. How do you think Sale should approach this at-bat with Billy Butler?
Well, I mean, obviously the game's early, and it's not like you want to completely pitch around him here, but you got some leeway now with getting Gordon out with 2 outs. You can make some borderline pitches, and if they don't go your way, you still got a base open where you can make a pitch to Perez behind him right here. But like you said, this kid's hitting 325 homers and 90 RBIs. You can't let him be the guy who beats you and give in. You want to make your pitches. Now he's 1-0. It's just not a situation where you're going to completely give in, whereas the bases are loaded here and there's 1 out. You're going to be at the mercy of throwing the ball across the wide of the plate, and bad things can happen when you do that to hitters like this.
Well, you don't want to throw him a cookie, like you said. If you fall behind, there's nothing wrong with walking a guy.
There's a base hit. They're going to send Kane, and a great throw to get him. Safe at the plate. It was a terrific throw by Alex Rios, and that's why Robin Ventura will come out and argue with Mark Carlson. It almost seemed like, Mitch and Jake, that the throw beat the runner.
In my opinion, it did. It's just a matter of whether or not Flowers got the tag on him.
Yeah, that'll be the toughest thing, him having to get the short hop and having to go get the short hop just if he got back in time. It's a
great play on the short hop.
It really is a great play all around.
And you look here at Rios behind the ball, makes a tremendous strong throw and a great play. Watch his short hop here by Flowers. He picks it. It's hard for me to even tell because of the shaded area of home plate. This might give us a better view. But the ball definitely beats him. He's out. He's out by a good foot.
Oh, that's a shame there.
But, Jake, it goes back to what you were talking about. They gave Billy a pretty good pitch to hit, and I think Robin just saw the replay. That is our guess, Jake.
Yeah, umpires don't like it when we have when they get told they're wrong.
I'm trying to figure out if they've thrown Robin out or if they've thrown Mark Perrin out.
I wouldn't be surprised by the end of this conversation if both of them don't watch the rest of the game in there.
And you can see Angel Hernandez trying to separate Mark Perrin.
I'll tell you what, guys, not to take anything away, but people don't give these Kansas City Royals enough credit. I mean, if you look at the way this inning just transpired with Kane, their leadoff guy, getting a base hit with 2 strikes, and Escobar going down 0-2 against Chris Sale, who we've been talking so much about. and working a walk there. And Alex Gordon having a tough at bat to take some out of Chris Sale, and then Billy Butler getting a 2-out base hit. It's impressive what Ned Yost and Drayton and those guys over there have done with this bunch.
Well, they've got a bunch of athletes on that team. If they can ever fill that little brown spot in the middle of the diamond, Jake, they're going to be on to something, because I think that's all this Kansas City team is lacking.
I can tell you what, they if you guys, hopefully you don't get a chance to see the back end of that bullpen today, but the back end of that bullpen, I think they're pretty set there.
Yeah,
they're working on good things, and don't ever want to give the other team too much credit, but it's nice to see a lot of young players coming together for a great franchise getting back to winning some baseball games.
Well, here is Salvador Perez, one of the top young catchers in the game. And he takes one down low. That's a question we asked Robin Ventura earlier, your skipper. We asked him how close is Kansas City to being a contender, and immediately said they got off to a bad start, but if they get a couple of starters next year, he said they will be a contender in the Central.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at what they did. We took 3 or 4 in Toronto playing good baseball. They swept us and swept the Tigers, so good team.
Well, Jake, you excited about your start against the Tigers coming up?
I can't wait. Y'all tune in Tuesday night. It's going to be a good one.
All right, Jake, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Has had such a difficult time stealing a victory away from Kansas City. Gordon Beckham will lead things off. The White Sox have faced the Royals 13 times this year, and Kansas City has won 9 of those games.
And as we talked about in our open, Steve, when you beat a team 6 times in a row, it's more mental than it is physical. It starts to get in your head that why can't we beat these guys? And we start pressing, trying to do more than you're capable of doing. I don't know where that pitch was.
Chicago is only 27-27 versus the American League Central, including 8-19 versus the Tigers and the Royals. Beckham goes deep, off the wall. Gordon has a great arm.
Another close play. That's a great slide by Gordon Beckham if he is indeed safe on the replay. We'll look at it. But tremendous play by Alex Gordon in left field to get this ball and make an accurate throw to second base. You look at him play. He plays it barehanded off the wall. And you're right, Steve. He's got a great throwing arm. Wow. I'm going to have to see this view because he looked out in that view. Does he get his left hand in under the glove? Yes, he did. Good call by the second base umpire.
At his head, Ed Hickox. Gordon, a former third baseman who led the American League last year in assists, and now not a productive out by Dwayne Wise. But let's go to Brian Kenny for a DirecTV game break.
Steve, let's get back to the Braves and Mets. Brian McCann with 2 on, and he's going to drive in both. Puts this to the gap, makes it 4-0. Chris Medlin, the pitcher, just drove in another. 5-0 Braves. Medlin with 2 shutout innings. Braves scoreless streak at 30. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Steve?
Thank you, Brian. And that's a good sign for the Atlanta Braves getting some offense. They threw 3 straight shutouts, which was unbelievable. But Brian McCann, who's been struggling a little bit with his front arm, got 2 hits in that game already.
Well, it is a good sign. And I'll tell you what, right now, Chris Medlin might be throwing better than anyone in baseball.
That's down the left field line. This will score Beckham. Chicago takes a 2-1 lead, and Ramirez into second base. Between commercial break, we talked to pitching coach Dave Island of the Kansas City Royals, and I asked him about what he likes about Chen, the way he's throwing in the first couple of innings.
Well, he's established his fastball early. He's speeding their bats up, and second, third time through, Bruce can slow guys down with the best of them. But in order to slow somebody down, you got to speed them up, and that's what he's done the first couple of innings.
Dave, it's Mitch Williams, and when you look at Bruce, we talked to Ned Yost, and I look at him like a Jamie Moyer type. That a lot of it, his success is going to depend on whether or not the umpire has given him the edges. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, but Bruce is going to get swings. We want guys to swing the bat against Bruce. We don't want a bunch of long counts, and if he can establish his fastball and work ahead in the count, then they're going to swing at his off-speed stuff, which is when they do that, then Bruce is at his best.
Dave is the key, getting that lead to your bullpen.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's our strength. That's the strength of our team. I mean, we've proved that over and over all year long. But the deeper your starter goes in the game, the better your bullpen is. But if we can get Bruce through 6 or any of our starters through 6, and then it's just gravy after that if they go more than that.
Dave, thank you very much.
All right.
That is Dave Island, the pitching coach for Kansas City. The Royals pitching has gotten better in the second half, and that's the main reason they have won 21 of their last 37 games. In that time, they put together a 3-game sweep over Chicago and a 3-game sweep over Detroit. Viciedo to left field. Gordon angles his body, twirls and fires. Ramirez has great speed, and he has no chance to get Alexi.
That's good aggressive base running by Alexi Ramirez there. You wouldn't think that a guy on second is going to tag on a fly ball to left, but he read it right away that Gordon was going to make the play. Got back to the bag and got a great break. You look at the replay there. You see Lexi. He's poised to take that extra base, knowing that going halfway, you don't have to go halfway there. If you're back at second base and that ball's over his head, you're scoring anyway.
Now Paul Konerko, who walked his first time up, swings at the first pitch, pops it up. Billy Butler in foul territory will make the catch and the inning, but 2 doubles in the third give Chicago a 2-1 lead. TV. Now, NFL Sunday Ticket is included at no extra charge when you switch. And by Prudential. Prudential. Bring your challenges. Challenge here in Chicago, Illinois is for Kansas City to somehow win their 7th straight against the White Sox. Now the Shadows are right splitting the pitcher's mound. When will they be less of an influence? Well,
right now they're less of an influence because his arm is coming out of the shadow. And that's all that matters. As long as the release point is in the sun or in the shadow, that's when it affects it. Now his release point is coming out of the shadow into the shadow. So it shouldn't affect the hitters at all now.
There's a fastball that runs inside. I always remember the fantastic season in 1988 that Oral Hershiser had. He had like 10 5 o'clock starts at Dodger Stadium.
Well, I look back, as you look at Chris Sale there, his entire body is almost in the shadow now, so it should be a non-factor the rest of the way. But I look back on hitters trying to face Lee Smith in Wrigley Field. That was with the shadows. That was no day at the beach.
Francoeur hits it sharply, but right at Olmedo. 1 out. Tomorrow the regular season begins with a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. First Robert Griffin III and the Redskins take on Drew Brees and the Saints, or Michael Vick leads the Eagles against the Browns. Also the Falcons and the Chiefs and the Rams and the Lions. Then in America's Game of the Week, the 49ers battle Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, or it's the Seahawks, Cardinals, or Panthers and Buccaneers. Coverage begins tomorrow with the Built Ford Tough Fox NFL pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Check local listings for the games in your area. Mike Moustakas singled his first time up.
And you can see those first 2 pitches sail through him breaking balls, and Moose kind of gave a little on both of them. That's what you're looking for as a pitcher. Are they giving on you, backing off on those pitches and pulling off them, or are they staying on them?
Here is our Burger King Fox Fantasy Football, and this is an easy league setup. Fox Fantasy Insider info, and always free to play. Play in a private league with a group of friends or join a public league. Sign up today at foxsports.com/fantasy.
Well, again, this is where if I'm the pitcher, I'm going to think like a hitter. If I'm Moustakas, I'm looking for his slider. If Sale can throw a fastball away, you almost got him to bite on that breaking ball there.
Count is full, 3-2.
You look at him, he doesn't quite commit. And I have a rule on that. If the barrel of the bat gets in front of the plate, he went. And obviously there he didn't.
He went there and swings and misses and strikes out. This is the second time the Royals have been through the lineup against Chris Sale. First time hitters only bat 187, but then it progressively goes up to 220, 257. Still good numbers.
Yeah, I mean, they're not bad, but it kind of points to maybe Sale falls into a rhythm and pitches them the same way every time.
There's Brian Pena, and Sale pitched him beautifully his first time up, as Kansas City had runners in the corners and just 1 out, but he enticed him to hit into a 6-4-3 inning-ending double play.
And that's his changeup, and that's in a great location. In the outer third of the plate, there isn't anything Pena can do with that ball other than roll over on it. Breaking ball in the dirt here.
Struck out 2 in the inning. First 1-2-3 inning this afternoon. We'll see Alex Rios when we come back. presented by MasterCard. Here in Chicago, Illinois, Steve Biziak, Mitch Williams with you. The Royals trailing the White Sox 2-1. And Alex Rios, one of the leading candidates for Comeback Player of the Year, will step to the plate. And Alex does not like to talk about last year when he hit 227. What a year he's having this year.
Yeah, you look at the production, and I don't look at batting average. I think, honestly, it's the most overrated stat in our game. The game is based on how many runs do you force across that plate and how many runs do you score.
He only had 13 home runs last year with 44 RBIs.
And you look at him this year with the 22 and 82. That's what the game's about. It's about damage. Adam Dunn, he's hitting 200, but he's got 38 homers.
He said to get through periods of time like that, you have to stay calm and not lose your confidence. When it comes back to you, just stay with it and ride it.
Oh, absolutely. This game, 162 games, you're not going to have it every day. And the guys that get in trouble are the ones that think they're going to have it every day.
Most career games without a playoff. Dunn is one, Rios another. They're both trying to get there this year, and that's down the line. Moustakas, foul ball.
Well, in talking to Robin Ventura, I asked him before the game about a rumor about hitting coach Jeff Manto going to Adam Dunn and telling him in spring training, look, you're not a good hitter. Quit trying to be a good hitter and just be what you are. And that's a guy that
does damage,
hits 40 and drives in 100.
Yeah.
I don't care how you make your outs. I don't care if you strike out 200 times. It's better than hitting into a double play. If you hit 40 and drive in 100, you've done your job.
Well, he did all the damage in his last game, although Chen strikes him out looking. Rios is done.
And that's a pitch that Chen's got to get. And I'm surprised he got it because the catcher was set up outside and he threw the pitch inside.
That will take us to A.J. Pierzynski, who swung at the first pitch he saw and hit a screaming line drive to Lorenzo Cain. So let's see if it's an off-speed pitch this time. It will be a breaking ball.
Well, A.J. is the definition of a grinder.
You have to be with 12 straight years of 100 or more games catching.
Well, that and he will not. There's guys that will give at bats away. I don't care who is throwing. A.J. Pierzynski is never going to give up an at bat.
Wow. Pierzynski's going to reach, and only because Bruce Chen had to get out of the way of the broken bat that was twirling towards him. So how about that? He hits one on the screws, lines out to Cain, and this time Chen completely fools him, and he gets a base hit.
Well, that's baseball,
yep.
And that's dangerous. The ball and the bat head got there about the same time. And nothing for nothing, but if it's me, I'm getting out of the way of the bat. They pay them other guys to field it.
Chicago has their fourth hit of the day. Kansas City with 5. Tyler Flowers, the batter. He struck out Flowers, swinging his first time up. And Tyler looks like in his first 2 at bats, he wants the heater, and Bruce is not giving it to him.
Well, that was his fastball right there at 83 miles an hour.
I'm talking about the heater.
Yeah. News flash, Tyler, Bruce doesn't have a heater.
You know, that's what's wonderful about Bruce. He's very comfortable in his own skin. Last year to the Royals, clubhouse staff and his fellow pitchers, he gave T-shirts that read, "My fastball 83 by you."
And you become good at what you do when you realize what you're capable of doing. And I love that pitch right there. And that's 90. So he can still get it up there.
Why do you like this pitch?
Because it's up.
On an 0-2 count.
On an 0-2 count. the at-bat, that sets up his changeup. Now, if he can come back and throw a changeup with the same arm speed and have it be down, it'll be strike 3.
Wow. Well, he didn't miss by much. Matter of fact, I think Bruce thought that was strike 3.
That was a little cutter, and if I'm Bruce, I'm probably getting thrown out of the game because I'm arguing that.
Patience, young Jedi warrior.
Yeah, I had tons of that. Never fails.
A 2-run home run by Tyler Flowers puts Chicago up 4-1 over Kansas City.
And what I mean by never fails, Bruce Chen made the absolute perfect pitch that should have been called strike 3. Wasn't called. Next pitch, 2-run homer.
He has now given up 30 home runs this year. There's the off-speed pitch that he wanted to throw Flowers.
And you see the catcher setting. I mean, that's a mistake on Bruce's part. Perez, the catcher, setting up on the outer third, and Perez missed in.
Well, you had it called as Moustakas comes on to make a remarkable play at third base in foul territory. That's out number 2. But I want to go back to what you were talking about. You said he had him set up for the changeup.
Absolutely.
And he threw a fastball.
Threw a fastball. When you change a hitter's eyes like that and you throw him a 90-mile-an-hour fastball up, if you come back with the same arm speed and throw the changeup down, as we watch this tremendous play by Moustakas, lays out and makes that play. That's how athletic. There's athleticism all over the diamond for this Royals team.
Gordon Beckham, the batter. He doubled his first time up and was doubled home by Ramirez. Chen strikes out Beckham, but Flowers got a fastball to his liking, and he didn't throw it by him. He hit it out. Diane Vicieto with a solo home run in the first inning. Billy Butler had that RBI single for Kansas City's only run, and Flowers hit a mistake from Chen and knocked it out. Sale, meantime, sailing along, giving up just 1 run on 5 hits, and he's wiggled out of a couple of jams as well. But here's what he has also done, Mitch. First time through the order, he did not throw a first pitch strike. He's done that to 7 of the last 8 batters.
Well, and that's the key to pitching. If you don't put the hitter in the hole, then the hitter gets comfortable, because then he can now start looking for pitches in the zones he wants them. Now the hitter's down 0-2. He can't sit on anything. He's got to be aware of every pitch in Sale's arsenal. So Sale can do anything he wants right here. He's going up and in. That's the one thing I never wanted the catcher to do. It bothers me to this day. If a catcher wants a fastball up, I don't need him to raise his glove. I don't need him to raise his body, because I know a hitter can feel that.
And he goes away with the breaking ball, but Giovitella doesn't bite. The count evens at 2-2. Chris Sale with 15 wins. David Price, they skipped his start for Tampa Bay against Texas. He has 17, as he would have gone for number 18. And Giovitella strikes out.
We're going to go back to the pitch by pitch to Flowers and what Bruce Chen did and the mistakes he made in the at bat. As we look at Flowers, the catcher, he starts him off just a straight fastball. Again, Flowers late on a fastball, wants to go away. Perfect. He goes up. Now he should go back down, but with a changeup. I thought that was a strike. Then he missed his spot by 2 feet right there. Catcher wanted the ball away and down, and he threw it up and in, and Flowers caught it.
Chicago has struck 2 home runs off Bruce. 1 by Vicieto, 1 by Flowers. That's the difference in the game. And now Kane chases an off-speed pitch, and he is down 0-2. Sale has struck out the last 3 Royals.
Well, and he's starting to implement his changeup a whole lot more. And then there's back-to-back changeups. Now you got Kane at the plate, emergency hacking. Here's where you elevate your fastball in the middle of the plate, but don't, as a catcher, do that.
Lorenzo skies it in the air, right center field. Wise is there to take care of Kane, so very quickly 2 outs in the inning, and he has set down 6 straight Royals since Billy Butler laced that base hit to right field to drive in Kansas City's only run. He has been impressive in every single start this year against Kansas City, even though his record is 2-2 with a 3.25 earned run average. Chicago has not given him that much run support when playing the Royals. Here is Escobar, who's been on twice with a single and a walk.
Well, what Sale's doing a good job of now is locating. He's staying out of the middle of the plate, and he's changing speeds really well. See, you look right there. That's a 1-0 changeup. Anytime a young pitcher starts throwing off-speed pitches in hitters' counts, you're becoming a pitcher.
Olmedo gets Escobar. Sales cruising along right now through 5. He's allowed just 1 run. His club is a 4-1 edge over KC. Chevrolet, proud to support youth baseball in cities and towns across the country. Chicago Fire Department strolling down the Chicago River here in the Windy City. Steve Physiak with Mitch Williams. White Sox lead at 4-1. They lead the American League Central by 1 game over Detroit. Tigers in Southern California to play the Angels tonight. And this is going to be a marvelous September with so many playoffs up for grabs.
And it really is. I mean, you look at the American League East, Baltimore and the Yankees series going on right now. Back and forth. Baltimore won the first one to pull even with the Yankees, and the Yankees win last night. Now they're back up 1. But to have the attendance and everything that's back in Baltimore and the excitement, that's just good for our game.
There's no question about that, because New York had a 10-game lead in the East on July 18th. They tied Baltimore. The largest lead New York has ever blown in a league or division is 6 games, and that was back in 1933. And Baltimore might do it this year.
Well, I'll tell you what, watching that, I was shocked in the first game of that series. Baltimore had a 6-1 lead going into the 8th, and the Yankees tied it up. And I thought, this is going to be the start of the downfall of the Orioles. Then the Orioles hit 3 home runs and scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th. So they're not going away.
Adam Jones.
Oh,
he got the big home run that got him started. And then last night, Alex Rodriguez. That was the Yankees bounce back game as they knocked off Baltimore to reclaim a 1-game lead in the East. A-Rod with his 300th home run as a Yankee.
He's been a pretty good ball player, that's for sure.
Sabathia goes tonight against Joe Saunders. Pitched a beautiful game in his last start. The ball is struck to the first baseman Butler, who will take care of it himself. But Baltimore, when they tied New York, it was the first time they were in first since 1997.
Well, and people are sitting at home thinking the Yankees are going to eventually win that division. Well, it's not a certainty. They're banged up. I believe that if Andy Pettitte does not come back healthy, that Tampa Bay is going to end up winning that division. They have so much pitching, and when you get to September, pitching wins.
Ramirez pops it a mile high in center field. Kane takes care of it for out number 1.
Or 2.
Or 2, excuse me. Butler took care of Wise. We were getting into all of this discussions about the East and the Central and now the wild card. And Tampa Bay is just 1 game back, but with their pitching of Price and Shields and Hellickson and on Moore and on and on.
That's why I honestly believe Tampa's going to end up winning that East.
You know, there's a looseness about that club that Joe Madden helps them out with.
Well, I got to tell you, and just being honest, some of the stuff Joe does, like some of their theme plane flights,
I love it.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to get fined because I ain't putting on no checkerboard suit or wearing pajamas on an
But it's
airplane.
optional. It's optional.
It is optional?
Yeah.
Well, then I would be opting not to do that. But
Joel Peralta had a great time with the nerd flight. He dressed up as a nerd.
Well, there's some guys that ain't got to try and dress like a nerd. There's some that just are.
The 1-2 pitch to Diane Viciedo, and he swings and rolls it towards Moustakas. That's a nice play. He is one of the better third basemen in the game at just 23 years old. Alex Gordon, one of the best left fielders in the game, and you'll see him coming up when we come back. proud supporter of Stand Up to Cancer, and sponsored by Michelin, a better way forward. Here in Chicago, the White Sox lead by 3. Chicago took the lead on a Viciato home run in the first. Royals tied it on a Butler single in the third, but it has been all Chicago since. Back to for 2 doubles in the third inning, scored 1, and then a 2-run home run by Tyler Flowers in the fourth. Now in the sixth, Chris Sale just threw his 90th pitch. And now Gordon, the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. And Chicago really trying to take care of Chris Sale. If they have a big lead, they'll get him out in the 6th inning. But he has the mindset to go 9 every time, and he almost got struck in the face, threw his glove up, and the baseball found his glove.
No, that right there, it's just a defensive reaction. And a great one at that. Self-preservation.
We did see a frightening moment earlier this week with the Oakland Athletics.
Yes.
And their fine right-handed pitcher, Brandon McCarthy. And we would like to extend our best wishes to former White Sox and current Athletics pitcher Brandon McCarthy as he recovers from a scary injury he suffered Wednesday in Oakland when a line drive off the bat of Eric Ibar of the Angels struck him on the right side of his head. Brandon underwent surgery Wednesday night, and since then he has shown steady progress, though his condition is still considered serious.
Well, and that's one thing that I think it needs to be addressed in our game. Umpires not allowing pitchers to come inside on hitters and issuing warnings on pitches that are inside. If a hitter goes up there and has nothing to think about but hitting, and there is no fear of the ball inside, somebody is going to get hurt. A pitcher standing 60 feet 6 inches from a grown man swinging a bat. And I know this because I got hit in the head with a 102-mile-an-hour line drive. You have to allow pitchers to pitch inside, because if a hitter doesn't have any kind of fear in him that he might get hit, he's going to hit.
Sale is cruising as he has retired 9 straight Royals. Very special pitcher coming out of college at Florida Gulf Coast University, where he was a finalist for the Golden Spikes Award, an All-American there. Now facing Salvador Perez. Strike.
Well, and Robin Ventura, and that's his changeup. That's what he's done so well over the last couple of innings. If he falls behind, he throws a changeup, and he gets it over. And there's that big sweeping slider that he throws.
Jesse Crain starting to warm up. This might be his last inning because he's throwing 97 pitches. And look at that. I mean, he's absolutely painting. I'd bring him back for the 7th.
Well, I doubt they will.
Get you up to speed on the Braves and Mets. Atlanta in wild card position coming into the game, and Brian McCann puts this out on Robert Carson, who knew. 3 for 3, 4 RBIs on the day from McCann. It's 7-1 Braves there in the 5th. Dodgers and Giants. LA finally gets to Matt Cain here in a 1-0 ball game. Shane Victorino, the sacrifice fly. Chris Capuano scores. 1-1 in the 7th. Back to Steve and Mitch in Chicago.
Thank you very much, Brian. Here in Chicago, Chris Sale has been sharp. He has retired 9 straight. And how effective has he been lately? Well, the first 3 innings, he threw 7 or more pitches in an at-bat to 5 different players. He has none since.
Well, like I said, he started mixing in one. If he did fall behind, he started getting ahead much better. But if he did fall behind, he started throwing that changeup for strikes.
What was it? Changeup, curveball, fastball, 3 pitches. See you later to Salvi Perez.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night.
Bruce Chen comes out for his bottom of the 6th.
And it would surprise me to see Robin Ventura bring him back out there for this 7th inning. You want this game, you got a 3-run lead, and you want to believe as a manager that your bullpen can hold a 3-run lead over the last 3 innings.
But Kansas City has had great success against the White Sox bullpen. Konerko, though, trying to help out that bullpen, and Sale. And Paul does just that. With his 4th home run, he struck off Kansas City this year. They can mash.
Oh, and that's just another mistake right there by Chen. Had him down in the count, and that's just a center cut fastball.
Number 51, Alex Rios.
3rd home run by Chicago and 6th in this series.
And you look at this pitch right there. Again, catcher wanted it away, right down the middle. You cannot make mistake pitches to home run hitting clubs. Every home run he's given up today, with the exception of the one to Viciedo, he's missed his spot.
That was number 418 in his great career. Chen trying to work Rios upstairs.
And again, he's ahead 1 and 2. Stay out of the middle of the plate.
Moustakas takes care of Rios.
And that's a case right there where Chen hung the breaking ball so bad Rios couldn't hit it.
Designated hitter, number 12, A.J. Pierzynski.
Only the Yankees have hit more home runs than the White Sox, 181. Here's that last pitch, a hanger to Rios.
And you see he hung it, but it hung outside, and the only thing Rios could do was roll over on it.
Pierzynski lined out and then had his bat shattered. Now he strikes one high in the air, deep to right field, back to the wall. Francoeur, he leaps and makes the catch.
Wow, AJ thought he had one there. Great play by Frenchie out there in right field. The thing I love about Jeff Francoeur, he may struggle at the plate, but he never takes his plate struggles into the field with him. He prides himself on his defense and his throwing. Not sure that ball would have been out, but it would have been off the top of the wall.
Jeff told us before the ball game that he and the White Sox third baseman Gordon Beckham are going to find a place with a big screen TV and watch the Georgia Bulldogs play the Missouri Tigers tonight.
Yeah, I know Gordon Beckham's a former Bulldog.
All-American. And Jeff, from the Atlanta area, He's signed with the Braves out of high school. Almost played football at Clemson. Vancouver was an outstanding safety. I think he had like 15 interceptions his senior year in high school. And Clemson offered him a full ride.
I just don't picture Frenchie as a football player.
Oh, yeah. I think he enjoys hitting people.
I played football. It was my favorite sport. I was a quarterback, but my shadow could outrun me.
So it was not an option team offense. It was you were dropping back and throwing.
Yeah, and not well, because my line perfected the lookout block where they just stood up and yelled, "Look out." They put in the shotgun offense, and all that did was make sure that the linemen had 7 yards to get to full speed before they hit me.
Here is the 3-2 pitch, and it is foul. Steve Physiak with Mitch Williams, the wild thing. Well, Chicago trying to end a 6-game losing streak to Kansas City. The Royals have taken 9 of the 13 meetings this year, and they've won 6 straight for the first time since 1982. Let's go back to the Paul Konerko at bat, and I want you to go through pitch by pitch.
When we look at this pitch by pitch and what Chen does, he throws him a first pitch changeup, then he comes back with another changeup. That's great. Then he gets a fastball mistake by him. Don't make the same mistake twice. He had him 1-2. Don't go to the well twice with that fastball. Not to a hitter like Paul Konerko. He's not going to miss that pitch twice.
Three home runs by Chicago. They have the 5-1 lead in the 6th. Cia's home run in the 1st, a solo shot. Flowers' 2-run blast off a mistake in the 4th. Konerko's 22nd home run this year in this inning. Vin Mazzaro starting to warm for Kansas City in their pen. Royals likely will stay away from their core guys. That means Crow and Collins and Holland and Herrera. Most of those guys have pitched in each of the last two games. Kansas City will have Monday off as they go to Minnesota. Meantime, the White Sox have a huge series with the Detroit Tigers that starts on Monday. And they're hoping to get Gavin Floyd back. I mean, he's going to have a bullpen session tomorrow, which is really important. And they're hoping he'll be available on Thursday, Mitch, which could be a great matchup with Floyd against Justin Verlander.
Well, and they got swept the last time they played the Tigers. And anytime you're at the top of the division, and this is what you want in September.
Yes.
You want to be facing the ones you're chasing, or facing the guys that are right behind you to put them further back.
There are the White Sox remaining games. A lot with Kansas City, but then again they've got Detroit 4 times at home, and it'll be Rick Porcello against Jose Quintana in game 1. Porcello has had great success against Chicago in the past. We will return to Chicago after a word from your local Fox station. White Sox after Sale was brilliant. 1 run allowed in 6 innings, and Robin Ventura said they would take care of him, get him out after 6 if they had a good lead, and 5-1 is a pretty good lead. Now Jesse Crain, who has been death for right-handed batters this year, will step up to face Jeff Francoeur. His first pitch is a breaking ball. Right-handers, Mitch, are hitting 110 off Crain this year. 9 hits in 82 at bats.
Well, the thing Jesse has, he's got a different delivery. He throws like a catcher. So he short arms the ball, but he's able to get tilt on it. He's got a good fastball, a very good breaking ball, and as you saw on the first pitch of the at bat, he's added that cutter, which I cannot stand. I think the cutter's hurt more pitchers than it's helped.
Now, why is that?
Because if you don't, Mariano Rivera, he and Kenley Jansen of the Dodgers are the only 2 guys I know of that is their natural delivery. They have to think to throw a 4-seam fastball and make it be straight. As we look at Frenchie here going back on this ball, he gets turned around, but makes a very nice play on a ball that had a chance to be off the top of the wall. Not sure it would have gone out. But he hasn't had the ear at the plate that he wants. But like I said, he never takes his offense into the field with him.
Crain buries that fastball in on Francoeur. Now it's time for the Just for Men auto stop foolproof stat. 16 outfield assists this year, #1 in all of baseball, and his teammate Alex Gordon. Not many are running on Alex either. He had 20 assists last year to lead baseball. But Frenchie has one of the quickest releases I have ever seen, particularly for a guy 6'5". And just as the Royals can count on Jeff Francoeur for an edge, you can count on Just for Men auto stop for foolproof results.
And the thing, if you're going to be a good throwing outfielder, you have to learn to position yourself, to put yourself in a throwing position. And Frenchie has always gotten behind the ball to make sure he is coming forward when he goes to field a fly ball, field a ground ball, and have to make a throw. That's why he's got such a strong throwing arm.
Great curveball by Crain. Man, that was 12-6.
And that's the equalizer. When you're sitting on it, he's got a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and he throws you that 70-mile-an-hour dewdrop. You can't pull the trigger on that.
Coming inside to Moustakas.
But back to the reason I don't like the cutter. If you cannot locate it, if you don't have absolute command of it, all it is a BP fastball. And it doesn't change planes. All it does is move about 3 to 4 inches, and you can't get it off the barrel of the bat, and you sacrifice velocity. And again, I probably would have been thrown out right there too, because that to me is strike 3. That's belt high.
Moustakas pops it up left side. Olmedo takes care of Moustakas. 2 outs. Fans catch all the action of the 2012 Major League Baseball postseason on Fox and TBS. The excitement begins on October 5th with the wild card on TBS. I love the new wild card.
I do too. I'm a huge fan of it. Anyone that watched baseball last season, had there not been a wild card, September would have been a boring month.
It's made it even more exciting this year, not only for September, but I think it also rewards the division champions, because they don't have to play that extra playoff game, and all of a sudden they're taking on the #2 starter rather than the #1 starter that had to match up in the wild card playoff.
Well, there's going to be the strategy that's going to come down to that is going to be really interesting, because you might, if you're fighting to get in, your #5 hole guy may end up having to pitch that wild card game. If you're fighting and scratching to get to that playoff, your best pitchers may be used up, and you're going to have to count on offense and bullpen.
Or you're going to have to bring back a number 1 or number 2 guy on 3 days rest.
Short rest.
Swing and a miss by Brian Pena. Crane strikes out 2 in the 7th inning. 5-1 Chicago. You do for a Klondike bar. And by Mazda, we believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. Bruce Chen for Kansas City, his afternoon over, gave up 5 runs in 6 innings, struck out 6, but gave up 3 big home runs. A solo shot by Viciedo, a 2-run blast by Flowers, and a solo shot by Paul Konerko. His afternoon done, so Vin Mazzaro comes out of the Kansas City pen. He was 2-1 with a .363 earned run average and 5 saves in 22 appearances for Omaha. But when he was sent back from the major leagues to the minors, they had him work solely in relief. And since being optioned, he allowed just 1 earned run over 15 1/3 innings. That's an 0.59 ERA. So maybe he has found himself in the bullpen.
Well, there's guys that are bullpen guys and guys that are starters. I spent my entire minor league career. I pitched in 91 games in the minor leagues. 90 of them were starts. And I proved I could go 2 innings, the first 2 or the last 2. So they made me a reliever.
Beckham walks against Mazzaro. Chicago has to have the belief that no lead is big enough against KC the way they have played so tough against Chicago.
Well, Mazzaro's job right here, keep the game where it is. That's all Ned Yost, his manager, wants. He wants him to keep the game where it is and give the offense a chance to get back in there and get some swings. And if this is truly where Mazzaro is going to end up, is in the bullpen, I would eliminate the windup.
Because you're usually coming in with guys on base.
Yeah, there's no reason to throw from a windup. Throw from your stretch and learn to command everything from your stretch.
Well, he has not started this 7th inning well with a walk and a single. But fans, tonight college football returns to Fox as Aaron Andrews, Eddie George, and Joey Harrington once again get you ready for kickoff with the Ford Fox College Saturday pregame show. Then Rex Burkhead and the 16th-ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers head to LA for an early season test against UCLA, looking to pull off the upset. Coverage of Fox College football presented by Geico begins tonight at 7 o'clock for Pacific. One guy who is certainly interested in that game is the Royals left fielder. Alex Gordon still lives in Lincoln, Nebraska. He was an All-American for the Cornhuskers. He was visiting with us before the game about that big game.
Well, I'm a huge football fan, college football especially. I grew up, I was raised on SC, Southern Cal football, and allowed to root for Nebraska too. So I was a big Tom Osborne fan, and all the guys, the quarterbacks and running backs that came out of those programs.
Osborne, one of the best. College Football Hall of Fame. Nebraska against UCLA today, and they've got a young quarterback by the name of Brett Hundley out in Southern California who's doing an excellent job for the Bruins. So that will be a real good game, and fans, you'll want to watch that on Fox following this game. Alexei Ramirez 1 for 3, a double that drove in Beckham back in the third.
This will where Vin Mazzaro has got to get himself back into the strike zone, down, get the ball hit on the ground.
And he does have a good sinking fastball.
Very good.
Chicago trying to get back to the postseason. They had that brilliant 2005 when they went 11-1 in the postseason, and their starting rotation was fantastic. Jose Contreras, Mark Burley, John Garland, Freddie Garcia. Do they have that strength again? I told you Gavin Floyd will throw a bullpen session tomorrow, and they're hoping he can go Thursday against Detroit. And Floyd, they need him down this stretch. He is 1-0 with a 1.38 ERA in 2 starts against the Tigers.
Well, they most definitely want Floyd back in that rotation.
Another veteran, because Santiago has become their 5th starter. But the one thing that Floyd said was that his last outing when he had a bullpen session, he was completely pain-free. And prior to that, his elbow was hurting a little bit on the slider, but he said he was so happy to wake up the next day and go, no pain.
Well, with him, his curveball is his out pitch. So if he can go out there, I wouldn't be so worried about the slider. If it even bothers you a little bit, don't throw it. Work on locating your fastball and your curveball, because his curveball is his swing and miss pitch.
Runners were going, and the pitch is fouled off on a 3-2 count. The Chicago rotation this year is led by Jake Peavy, who certainly is their veteran. Even though Sale has more wins, every single starter would tell you that Peavy is the leader. He is 10-10 with a 3.22 ERA. They haven't given him much run support. It's one of those years where Peavy doesn't get it, but Sale has.
Well, the record is not indicative of the numbers, that's for sure. When you look at his stat line, Peavy's record should be a whole lot better than it is.
Line to Moustakas, no chance to get the double play, but they do get the first out. So right now they have Sale, Peavy, Quintana, and Liriano. And Liriano, his last 3 starts have been a little rough, particularly with his command. Hector Santiago is in the 5 spot. They really need Gavin Floyd to come back.
Well, Liriano, I would be leery of if I'm Robin Ventura. I look at his mechanics and how wide open his front foot lands. It's just tough to be consistent every start with the mechanics that he takes out there with him.
Diane Biciedo belted his 20th home run earlier this afternoon. But this is a guy who was born, defected from Cuba. His nickname is the Tank because you can see from the size, he's like a fullback.
He's square. 5'11", 240.
And the ball off his bat like a howitzer.
Yeah, we saw that his first time up when he drove the ball out of right field.
Center field, that's a base hit. They had to hold momentarily, so they will not send Beckham. Bases are loaded, and Chicago has a great opportunity to bust this game wide open.
First baseman, number 14.
Look who's up. Paul Konerko with his 10 grand slams.
Well, this is a spot, if you're Vin Mazzaro, this isn't what you drew up when you were warming up in the bullpen. I want to be in a bases loaded, one-out situation with Konerko at the plate.
Some hitters can't handle this situation. Paul Konerko can. He has proven that in the past. But he has the mentality like Tony Perez of the Cincinnati Reds used to say. His favorite situation was bases loaded. And the reason was because they have to pitch to me.
And see, I always looked at it the other way. If I had a guy like Konerko up, and the thing that makes Paulie special, he'll take a walk and trust the guy behind him. But most RBI guys, if you load the bases, you can throw them a rosin bag, they're going to swing at it. And I used to take advantage of that. That's why I liked it when the bases were loaded. Because if RBI guys come up there, they're not walking to take one RBI.
I noticed you did load the bases quite often in your career.
Well, that was the name of my ranch, was 3-2 Ranch.
I'm guessing you didn't raise quarter horses. They were all Mustangs.
No.
Wild things.
They were all quarter horses. I did a lot of team roping down in Texas, so I had to have working horses.
Thus the quarter horses.
Yes.
Smartest horses there are. Here
Yes,
we go.
sir.
3-1 count to Paul Konerko. Mazzaro's got to make a pitch.
Paulie's looking in one zone.
Ooh, that was
he
on
missed it.
a tee, and he pops it up a mile high. Billy Butler is there to make the catch, and Paul's gone, missed my pitch.
Infield fly rule in effect right there, and Paulie's hating himself right now. But this ball had just enough movement. You see that ball? Mazzaro's ball has run back over the plate, and every pitch he's thrown in that at bat, and that one stayed away. Had that ball run back in like the rest of his pitches had in the AB, Paulie wouldn't have missed it.
Alex Rios hit a grand slam on Wednesday. Sharply struck. They get the force. Mazzaro does his job just like the Wild thing used to do. Load him, get out of a jam.
Tease him.
The new pitcher for Chicago will be veteran Brett Myers, pitching in his 24th game this year, has an ERA of 3, has closing experience.
Well, the one thing about Brett, I have spent time around him when he was in Philadelphia. He's a gamer. I can tell you for sure he ain't all there. If we get a chance to see the back of his head, he's got that schnauzer haircut. But he was a starter in Philly. They made him a closer. He has a closer's mentality. He never wanted to give up that closer role, but went to Houston. They made him a starter, and then he went, I think, a stretch of 30-some starts where he pitched at least 6 innings. Tremendous curveball.
He's facing Johnny Giavotella to open this 8th inning. It's a little bit low. Count moves to 3-1. Johnny Giavotella from Metairie, Louisiana. Attended the University of New Orleans. It was the Royals' 2nd-round pick, and he had a lot of concern when Hurricane Isaac was going through that Louisiana area. Laces that one to left field, and that will be a fair ball into the corner, and it will be a ground rule double. So he was watching closely and talking to his folks, but he said his area did not get as much water as the rest of Louisiana.
Well, when you look at that, I mean, Brett Myers put himself in a situation where he's behind right there, Steve, and the hitter's sitting fastball. And as a pitcher, you have no choice. You have to throw a strike. So he throws a strike, gets smoked into the corner. Now Myers has got to keep this game where it's at, because Robin Ventura does not want to have to use his big guns in his bullpen.
And Kansas City has gotten to Myers this year, both as a member of the Houston Astros when the Royals were playing Houston in interleague, and also as a member of the Chicago White Sox. His ERA against Kansas City is over 18.
The thing about Brett, he was throwing as a closer with the Phillies 96 miles an hour with a really good curveball. When he went back to starting, his fastball was down around 90, 91, 92, as you see there.
Kane gets the base hit. They do not send Giavotella down by 4 runs. So Lorenzo with 7 hits his last 3 games. Fans, tomorrow start your NFL Sunday with the Fox NFL Sunday pregame show as Aaron Andrews has a one-on-one interview with Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Plus, Terry Bradshaw rates the 5 rookie quarterbacks that are making their debuts this week. It's all on the Built Ford Tough Fox NFL Sunday pregame show tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, only on Fox. White Sox leading Kansas City 5-1. Alcides Escobar is the batter. He is 1 for 2 in the game with a walk.
Well, this will be Myers' last hitter. The thing that shocks me is he has not thrown his curveball one time yet. And you got Alex Gordon over there on deck. So there you see Thornton up in the bullpen. He will face Alex Gordon.
Well, we just saw a curveball, but it was missing the strike zone by a good 1.5 feet. Alex Gordon looking for his first hit of the day, and he knows he'll have to face a lefty. He faced Sale 3 times. Ventura has these Royals just, there's no quit in them.
No.
Escobar with a drive to left field, and that ball's off the wall. Giavotella scores. Kane is being sent home. They'll throw to the plate. Got him!
This game is funny because I thought he was safe there and out on the earlier call in the game. Tremendous job of the relays with the White Sox. The left fielder Ramirez makes a strong throw, but it all comes down to making sure you hit your cutoff man. You watch Viciedo field this ball off the fence, get a hold of it, make a great throw to Alexi Ramirez. Now watch the pick by Alexi. Oh, I was wrong. He was out.
pitching change here in Chicago. Single a double, but the left fielder to the shortstop to the catcher, perfectly executed, and they get the out at home plate.
Well, that's why they practice that stuff in spring training. You cannot take the fundamental part of baseball and not have it be a serious part of your game. If those cutoffs aren't hit, that run scores.
And if that other run scores, then all of a sudden Alex Gordon is the tying run at the plate.
And I talked about anytime you lose 6 in a row to a team, it being a mental thing. This is what I'm talking about. If you're that White Sox team, you're kind of sitting over there going, all right, we're up 5-1. This game should be over. And now we've got a 5-2 game, a guy on second base in scoring position. What's going to happen today?
And there was some question at the start of this series. The question was, will Chicago look past Kansas City to their big 4-game series versus Detroit that starts on Monday? And Robin said absolutely not. The Royals have worn us out, and it isn't because we've let down against them. They have just played better baseball.
We're going to look at a replay. You look at the relay throw. Well, Alexi actually has to pick this throw from Viciedo. But watch the catcher. The key here, Giavitello's got to be telling the runner, slide to the outside part. But as we see here in the replay, the tag's applied right there before he gets there. But you see the guy, Giavitello, standing there not telling him to slide. Slide to your right.
Thornton gets the big strikeout of Gordon. Now Thornton will face the right-hander Butler.
Well, and that right there, Matt Thornton's got one of the easiest deliveries in the game and throws gas.
Thornton was talking about the importance of this series. He said, if we start thinking about Detroit on Monday in a 4-game series, Kansas City will come in and kick our backsides for 3 straight days. KC won last night 7-5. Escobar is going. He will steal third base without a throw. It's his 28th stolen base this year.
It's not a smart play. If he gets thrown out right there with their biggest RBI guy at the plate, Ned Yost is going to lose his mind.
But now a wild pitch or a pass ball could score Escobar and make it 5-3.
Yeah.
But still, it's this guy's job to drive in runs.
He can score just as easily from second on a base hit as he can from first with from third with 2 outs. It's a moot point now because he stole the base.
Swings and misses and strikes out. Thornton comes out of the bullpen to do a great job striking out Gordon, striking out Butler, but a throw out by Ramirez of Kane was the difference. Life and banking get to a better state, and buy all the new Dodge Dart. Dodge, new rules. It is Star Wars Day here at U.S. Cellular Field. Han Solo with R2-D2. That would be Mitch Williams. Darth Vader is in the house.
A little smarter than Disco Demolition.
Well, then why is no one sitting next to that person?
I'm guessing because that suit has made him perspire and smell funky.
Alone again, naturally. Jeremy Jeffers is the new pitcher for Kansas City. He will face A.J. Pierzynski, Tyler Flowers, and Ray Olmedo. First pitch swinging. Butler gets it to Jeffers. 1 out. Here's today's Mazda moment. White Sox hitters were stronger today. Brought to you by Mazda. Better, stronger, smarter. They got 3 big flies, 1 from Viciedo, 1 from Flowers, 1 from Canerco, and they're hoping it is enough against Kansas City, a team that has won 9 of 13 games from the White Sox this year.
Well, and this is big. If the White Sox can put this W on the board today, that means Detroit knows they have to win to keep pace out in L.A. tonight.
Angels and Tigers later tonight. Both teams very interested in this one.
And you can see he's throwing that ball at 95 miles an hour, and it's got cut to it.
Justin Verlander tonight will go up against C.J. Wilson. That's a great matchup out at the Big A. Look at that breaking ball. Jeffers thought it was strike 3.
That's a 92 mile an hour slider.
He has always had great stuff. A former first-round pick, part of the Zach Greinke deal. Royals also getting Lorenzo Cain, Alcides Escobar, and a talented starting pitcher named Jake Odorizzi. Had a fabulous season at AAA, winning 15 games. As part of the Omaha Storm Chasers PCL playoff run. Flowers hit a big home run, probably the biggest hit of this game, because Chen had him set up for a changeup, threw him a fastball, and Flowers knocked it out.
Well, they got ahead of him 0-2, and now he's put himself in a position. He's got to come in with something. This is a pretty good pitch right here. Flowers able to check his swing. Just throw him a fastball as hard as you can throw it.
He does, and it's popped foul. It's 95. We've seen him touch 98, 99 miles an hour at times.
Well, if he can get 95 to 98 and at the top of the catcher's mask in the middle, there's no way Flowers can lay off it. Not in a 3-2 count.
Ned Yost and Dave Island do have power arms they can bring out of the bullpen, but this young man has not learned to locate them as well as the others. And there is an example.
That's a 97 mile an hour cutter. That to me is a natural cutter. You see, he doesn't change anything. It's just how the ball comes out of his hand.
Number 66, Ray Olmedo.
Addison Reed warming in the Chicago White Sox bullpen. He's the man who took the loss last night in a 7-5 Kansas City win when Lorenzo Cain hit the second of his 2 home runs in the top of the 9th to win it. Ball 1.
Yeah, velocity is definitely not this young man's problem. It's commanding it.
Suicide!
14 of the final 25 games that Chicago plays are against teams with records under 500. Right now they lead Detroit by 1 game. Mato fouls it out of play and they count 1 and 2.
And this right there, see, if I'm the pitcher, you have to recognize where the bat is in relationship to the baseball when it's crossing home plate. He's nowhere near on that ball. This is where I come in with that. Throw that cutter in. If he's late on it down the middle, throw it in and blow his bat up.
Caught the outside corner, though.
Yep.
Second baseman, number 15, Jordan Becca.
Chicago trying to even this series at 1 win each. Final game will be tomorrow. Jeremy Guthrie, who's pitched very well against the White Sox, will face Sox number 5 starter Hector Santiago. Good fastball at 95, swung on and missed by Gordon Beckham, who's had a solid game with a double to left field, and then he scored on Alexi Ramirez's double. He's also walked.
Yeah, when I look at this young man's fastball, I don't think for a second he's trying to cut it. I think that's just how it comes out of his hand. Like that one was straight. If you're trying to cut it, you're going to lose velocity on the ball. He's not trying to cut it. He's throwing that ball stayed dead straight. It's just how it comes out of his hand.
Beckham can hit a fastball. He has hit 13 home runs this year. They moved him from third base to second base, and he has really solidified their defense.
Well, I haven't seen anything off speed yet from Jeffress. If there was ever a time he was going to break something off speed out, this would be a pretty good time.
He does, and strikes him out. Chicago White Sox. Solo home run by Viciedo in inning number 1. A 2-run blast by Flowers in the 4th inning. And the solo shot by Paul Konerko in the 6th. Too much for KC thus far. The White Sox have 28 home runs in their last 14 games. Here on a beautiful afternoon in Chicago, Illinois. There was a threat of rain last night. Didn't delay at all. Game 1 of this series that Kansas City won 7-5. Now the guy who lost last night's game comes out of the bullpen to pitch. This is Addison Reed, tall right-hander from Montclair, California. He was the closer for Steven Strasburg at San Diego State.
Well, and he's done a good job for the White Sox because they've been looking for a closer for quite a while, since Bobby Jenks, basically. They've tried Thornton. He wasn't able to get it done, and this kid stepped up and done a real good job.
They did, remember, have Sergio Santos, who they traded to Toronto, and they really thought that Chicago was going to be rebuilding. But Robin Ventura has done a terrific job helping them get to first place. And how about that pitch by Reed to Salvador Perez, who swings and misses, now down in the count 1-2.
And you know, you kind of wonder about Kenny Williams at times. he pulls the trigger on trades on some pitchers at just the right time, because Sanchez broke down this year up in Toronto, hasn't pitched much. That's just blown by him.
Well, Reed has 25 saves, and that leads Major League rookies and the most for a White Sox rookie ever. Jordan Danks comes into the game to play left field for Viciedo. One out for Jeff Francoeur. Ball one.
Well, I know with Frenchie, you want to stay out of the middle of the zone with a fastball. He will chase up and he'll chase breaking balls, but if you miss in the middle with a fastball, he's hunting them.
In now. 1-1. He has converted 10 of his last 11 save chances since allowing a game-ending home run to Cody Ross at Boston back in July. Francoeur pops this one up. Flowers is back, and Tyler will make the catch just in front of his third baseman Olmedo. And now it's time for the Burger King smooth play of the game. White Sox starting pitcher Chris Sale, who allowed just 1 run in 6 innings.
And did a tremendous job.
Struck out 6.
I mean, he's a power pitcher, but the thing I was most impressed with today was the fact that when he fell behind, he went to his changeup and was able to get it over.
The great equalizer.
The reason I retired.
The reason you retired?
I never could come up with one. When I retired, I was throwing every bit up. It just wasn't going as fast.
There's a strike on the outside corner. Chicago again with a 1-game lead over Detroit in the American League Central. This is a team that had lost 8 of their last 11 to lose 2 games in the standings to the Tigers. Verlander against C.J. Wilson tonight, and there is a fly ball that will get by Danks, who just came in for his defense.
Lights.
I'm not sure if he lost that in the lights. I was just saying, he came in just like he was going to make a basket catch, and it went right under his glove.
That ball, absolute. There's a bank of lights right above first base that he lost that ball in. Absolutely. I mean, there's no worse feeling as an outfielder. As you can see to the left side of your screen, up there by the score, that's the bank of lights. It is right in Danks' view.
So still life for Kansas City. They need to put 1 more base runner on to bring the tying run to the plate. The batter will be Brian Pena, who is 0 for 3. Strike 1.
Oh, and Addison Lee is a manager's dream as a closer. He comes in, he pounds the strike zone. When you close games, you want to throw strike 1. Throw strike 1 and start expanding the zone.
Hit sharply into right field. Moustakas will score to make it 5-3, and the tying run will come to the plate.
And this is where if you're the White Sox, you start going, we've lost 6 in a row. That should have been out number 3, and the ball's in the lights.
6 in a row to Kansas City. The Royals have never beaten the White Sox 7 straight times. Donnie Veal is the left-hander warming up, and Nate Jones the right-hander. But right now it's up to Reed, who has had his problems against Kansas City in the past. He has an ERA over 18 this year against the Royals. Giavotella doubled his last time up.
He's only got 1 homer this year.
and it was against a pretty good right-hander, Roy Oswald. Runner goes. They will give Pena second base.
That runner means nothing.
Tony Abreu was pinch running for Brian Pena. I beg your pardon.
Addison Reed has one thing to think. That runner on second base means nothing. Well, now Reed is falling behind. I think he may be letting the situation kind of get to him a little bit. Step off, take a deep breath, and regroup.
Donnie Cooper's getting a little nervous, the Chicago pitching coach. Eric Hosmer's getting loose to pinch hit. In now.
And that's a great spot for a 2-0 pitch. That's on the black. There's nothing a hitter's going to. A hitter's not swinging at that pitch.
Abreu came on to pinch run for Brian Pena. He's in scoring position.
I'm a little baffled myself. I mean, if I'm Ned Yost, I would have pinch hit Hosmer here. You got Kane on deck, who hit 2 last night, right? And took Reed deep twice last night. Why not bring Hosmer up with a chance to tie the game with 2 outs?
Reed fights back in the count. It's full 3-2.
And I can tell you now, you just got a guy that turned on your fastball. It's a 3-2 count. If Reed can get a breaking ball in the zip code, it will be strike 3. Anything off speed that's in the area of home plate, the hitter will not be able to lay off.
To right field, base hit. Abreu's coming around. The throw to the plate, and they almost got him. But Abreu is safe on Giovatella's clutch 2-out base hit. And Robin Ventura is making that slow walk out to the mound. Addison Reed beaten last night by Kansas City, and now with 2 out, a ball struck in the lights that Jordan Danks would have caught for the 3rd and final out of the game went for a 2-base hit, a single by Pena, a single by Giovatella, and all of a sudden it's a 5-4 game.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. It starts to become a mental thing. What can go wrong will go wrong with certain teams. If you've lost 6 in a row to one team, there's bad mojo going on.
Well, they will also bring in Gerard Dyson, who is Kansas City's fastest player. He scored from first base on a single last week against the Texas Rangers.
Well, now Reed has to concern himself with holding Dyson because he now the tie-in run. And Dyson ain't out there to stand there. He's out there to steal second, get in scoring position.
Dyson goes, pitch taken, throw to second, not in time. Now a single ties the game.
Well, Lorenzo Cain was a hero last night.
Strike 1. Or 2, excuse me.
Now, Reed has got to stay out of the strike zone. He's got 4 opportunities to get Cain to chase a ball. And see that what Flowers is doing back there, raising up. A catcher does not need to do that. That right there, you cannot tell me the hitter can't feel that. Stay down in your crouch. All elevate the ball. I had no problem elevating the ball.
Blew it by him. And finally, the hex of the Royals has ended as Robin Ventura snaps the 6-game losing streak to KC. 5-4 the final score. Sale over Chen with Reed the save. Now let's send it to Brian Kenny in the Major League Baseball Network studios.